People of the world, hello and welcome to Marketing as a Foreign Language episode 215. Yeah, you heard that right. 215. My name's Kellen. You knew that already. The guest today, imagine you're on the ski slopes. It's cold. It's Michigan. You know how it goes. And you've been doing this for 25 years. That's a certain kind of dedication. You know what I mean? It's easy to 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Okay, it's getting a little rough. 25 years, you know that's a lifelong passion. Our guest today has been a ski and snowboard instructor for precisely that amount of time. And he did the corporate thing, worked at a ski resort, managed over 100 people, so tons of experience there. And way early in his childhood, at the age of 14, started building. So he's had his building license for a very long time. You put all that together, and what you end up with is someone that, after having lived a lot, decides to open up a marketing agency geared specifically towards contractors, which I don't know if you own an agency or not, but let me tell you, it's work. Okay, being your own boss is work. You knew that already. So we're going to learn a lot from the cold master himself, the ski instructor, the contractor to end all contractors. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the one, the only, Tom Bartholomew. Welcome to the show.
Oh gosh, thank you so much. What a great introduction. I appreciate being here today.
Yeah, man. So the art behind you, both of those are ski-related art, are they not?
That is correct. They are. Gary Peterson, he's the artist, and there's just some great classic art from him depicting the humorous life on the ski slopes.
Yeah. I mean, some people, shout out to DJ Night Train coming to us from LinkedIn. So for those of you that can't see it, because you're listening to the podcast after the fact, there are two interesting ski-related pieces of art hanging to the left and right of Tom's head. Let's dive right into the marketing. We'll get to your life story later. So as an agency owner, you a relatively new one, right? We're coming on a year or so of experience in this life.
That is correct. I was working at a resort as a senior manager, and last year I resigned on March 8th. March 9th, I started my agency, and on March 10th, they shut down the country for a pandemic. That was
interesting. That's right. You pandemicked this. I cannot believe I forgot that. All right. So you're sitting at the job that you're about to quit. You've thought about this. You've percolated. And you're going to pull the trigger, right? You do so, and boom, pandemic. How did you make ends meet?
Well, a lot of hustling. In the beginning, you don't have people knocking down your door for business, obviously, when you first open. So I, started the business pages on social media, and I just focused on LinkedIn and Facebook. I didn't want to get too broad in the beginning. And built a website and just started pushing traffic there. I also utilized cold outreach email video. So what I would do is I would prospect to customers' websites or potential customers, and I would find some different things, look at their source code. And I would, if I thought it was something where I could point out some simple things, I would record a Loom video, just really free screen share, and I would email that to them, giving them just some free tips, and if they had some questions to follow up. I use a CRM HubSpot, so that way I'm notified every time when they open it up, and then I would try to follow up as soon as they would open it up, right within the first 5 minutes.
Wow. And all right, so you're reaching out to contractors specifically. You go to their website, you see that their meta title's garbage or whatever.
H1s are terrible.
Yeah, H1s are terrible. Yeah, and you say, here are the terrible things about what's going on. And they see it, you know that they saw it, and then you follow up right away with some sort of email or phone call. You phone call them?
I tried a phone call, yes.
Wow. So for a lot of folks, that's just a terrifying thing. Like that whole process is terrifying. Absolutely. Like you know what I mean? I don't want to go to some person's website. I don't want to criticize it, first of all, but there you go and you do it. And then you got to set up HubSpot, and then you have to call them, right? You got to call them, say, hey, I'm that guy who just sent you the email. Hey, do you want to chat? And you're kind of getting them anxious that something's wrong, and something may be wrong, right? I mean, that's why you pointed it out in the first place.
Sure.
How many clients were you able to get that way?
Well, in the beginning, that's how I landed my straight through the email outreach with the phone call follow up. Was my first 4 clients. My first 4 customers were just straight up going every day, sending out, first I would go through and I would find all the websites and I would document. I use, Google Docs, right? And I would through the spreadsheet and I would just keep track of all of them with their contact information. So I had to have an email. If the website didn't have an email, I would just go, that was my first thing I checked. So I could streamline that process. And I had down so I could research real quick. And then if I researched, then I could make all the videos, the Loom videos, and I would send them out. So it was a process, but you get, just like any process, you kind of, as you go, you learn, you get it faster and quicker. So I'd only spend maybe 8 to 10 minutes per prospect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you grind it out, you figured it out. Is this something you still do?
Maybe not as much as I should, but yes, I do every once in a while. I go, especially when the month starts and I go, okay, I need to figure out where these, X amount of customers I'm going to have, whatever the goal is for that month. And then I start, how am I going to get them? Well, I know if I send out 50 of these, these cold outreach email, I'm probably going to get, 2 or 3 new customers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all numbers, just like any sales, you got to put in the work. You got to grind, you got to take those steps, and that's how you get customers. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about just offering that as a service to agencies? Just saying, hey, I'll get these customers for you. You can you could train people to do this. And then just talk to agencies and go, pay me X per lead.
I have not thought of that because that's not one of the things that I like to do in my company. So I don't know if I would want to offer that as a service. Yes.
I mean, it's a grind. I mean, call that thing, like when you call up those cold calls, not a warm referral. They don't know who you are. I sent you
I don't
this
necessarily
email.
like it. Yeah, you're right. I don't love it. It's not that's my favorite thing. My business, like I said, I don't do it as much as I used to. But when I need customers, it's a good standby. I know for sure that I can hustle up some customers that way.
Yeah, I mean, that right there is a really big deal. I've never done that. So that particular strategy is beyond.
The hardest part was starting.
Oh, yeah. I did cold calling for another company. I hated it. Oh, it's the stuff of nightmares. Talking to these people who they hate you. They hate everything about you. The rough. I mean, transformative is good for me, Well,
I found that because I recorded that video, and I called them immediately after they watched it within that first 5 minutes. They're already familiar with me. Yeah, it's not like a cold call like you would think. At first I thought it was, but I found that most people were a lot more receptive because they saw the effort I already put in without any compensation of any kind. And here I'm calling them. So they see that. And I think a lot of people, not everybody answers their phone and not everybody opens the emails. I mean, we all know that.
Right, of course. And then, you call and you get Susan. Hey, Susan. So I just sent an email to Brad. Is Brad there? What's this regarding? Well, I just sent an email. It's about, the internet market, and then you have to get through the gatekeeper. So there's that whole skill set. And then you probably don't most of the time, right? Or Susan's like, I'll just take a message. Do you want to, you know what I mean? Oh, you can leave a voicemail. No, you're leaving a voicemail or you're not. You're trying later. I mean, it's a skill set. And to me, it's terrifying and I hate it. Just even the idea of it right now is making me it's making my skin crawl. But I mean, hey, it's those that are willing to do things that make other people uncomfortable. So what I'm doing right now makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Like they don't want to be on a live show. It's terrifying. They have no interest. Like, bro, I'm not doing a live. Are you crazy? There's no way. And to me, I'm so used to it that it's not even. I forget we're live,
Repetition, you put in the reps and anything becomes second nature, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Public speaking was always something that I gravitated towards because I don't necessarily love it, but there are moments where I love it. And that's good enough for me. You get up there and it's not always great. And sometimes you got the dude snoring in the front row. You're like, bro, literally drooling, man. Am I that boring to you? Why are you here? Go home and go to bed. You're killing me. Sleeping. So people have no idea that you can see them. I swear to God, when you're a public speaker, they're so used to the TV. They're staring at you like it's a TV. I'm like, I'm looking at you, man. Gosh, so funny. Have you ever done the public speaking stuff?
I have. Yes, I've done some numerous talks, and I belong to Toastmasters, and I
Oh,
always
okay,
people
yeah.
always say, why do you keep going back to Toastmasters? What are you really learning anything there? I go, I go to Toastmasters because every time you get done speaking or they announce you, they clap, right? I like it when people clap for me, so I keep coming back.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's like any skill, but I'm saying, man, I can take time off martial arts. I still got it. I can take time off my Spanish. I still got it. It rusts over a little bit, but I'm never going to forget how to ride a bike. I mean, these skills are in there, but that consistent practice, it really sharpens them. The only way to grow them, obviously, is to continue. Okay, so pretty intense. Pandemic opening. So you're grinding. These are people that are hurting financially at the time. I've made the claim that marketing is always relevant, because if even in the pandemic or even in an economy that's absolute garbage, they still need clients. And so it's just a question of how much are they going to pay you for that. Do you see what I'm saying? So prices maybe go down, or you do more for less, but they still need you.
I agree with you 100% on marketing is relative no matter what position your business is, whether you're busy or you're slow. You always need marketing. But one thing that was interesting once the pandemic started is I thought almost exactly what you were saying, is that these people are going to, these businesses are going to be hurt, and it's going to be hard to find people that want it. But in all reality, the construction industry in
boomed.
Michigan and in a lot of states is booming right now. So these builders are actually have more jobs than they ever had. So I found it to be a perfect time to reach out to them, and especially online, because now everything's got to be online. So now I do Zoom conferences with them, and that's just the way everybody is. So it was actually not in a good way, but in a good way, it was a good time for me to start, actually.
You know what? You're right. I keep forgetting. We ordered a hot tub over a year ago. I still don't have it. There are certain industries that are they can't keep up with the demand. It's just insane. Shout out to DJ Night Train coming to us from LinkedIn with the 100. And Evan Starr, what's up? Coming to us from Twitch. How's life? How is life? We are joined by Tom Bartholomew. Tom is the owner of an agency that started during the pandemic, which is incredible. WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, website development, blogging, things of this nature. So how do you get past the experience question? When it comes to like blogging, if someone's like, how much experience do you have blogging? What's your answer to that?
Well, I just show them a few blog posts. I mean, especially since I work specifically with contractors, I get a lot of roofers, and I already have articles that I've written about those subjects. So I could show them my experience in that. So, I don't think they really look so much. And I mean, if they ask how long you've been doing this, I say, well, I tell them the truth. I started building my first website in 1999 for my construction company.
Right.
I mean, I've been doing that for a long time.
You know what? The reason I think you're successful is because you decided to go with that niche. I think that's why. Because if you were to have opened up a typical agency, I think you'd struggle big time trying to convince these people that you're their guy. But because you speak their language and this is what you do, they're more comfortable with you.
Yes, that's correct. And that's when I opened my business, when I started back on March 9th last year, I was working for small businesses. That was my niche. I didn't have the construction. I didn't hone into that right away. Yeah. And I struggled in the beginning. I did get a customer, and I struggled. And then when my next customer was actually a contractor. And I thought, man, this one, we hit it off right away. It was easy to work with them. I understood their nomenclature. And then I had that also because I was a licensed builder for 20 years. I got that kind of earned respect out of that.
Yeah. I mean, you can't fake it. You can try. In my experience, I've sat in some meetings where they'll be like, you don't rank number one. Why should we trust you? And my answer to that is I was the director of operations at Advise Media, and we did rank number one. SEO Las Vegas, numero uno. And guess what? Phone didn't ring. And when the phone rang, no budget, no whatever. It was not the panacea that you think it would be. Oh, and by the way, it takes an enormous amount of time and effort to get anywhere close to that because everyone wants it. And it just wasn't all that in a bag of chips, right? So just there's a huge difference between B2B and B2C. Big difference. B2B is show me someone that kills it in whatever they're doing. Like an agency, you want a good agency referral. Trust me. I mean, you're getting those now, right? Warm referrals. Like, hey, I know another contractor. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Actually. Oh, absolutely.
Dude,
Absolutely.
That's what you want, right? So ranking in Google is nice. It's nice. You want that. But man, I mean, they'll still call you up and they're still skeptical. They're like, who are you? How much are you? Bah, 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 bah. But that warm referral is like, look, this personal injury attorney, I've known him for 20 years. You did great work for me. He's in Indiana. I put in a good word for you. You call them up and they're like, okay, we're ready to start. Just don't beat me up too much on price.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's one thing that I've gotten good at lately is not only asking for a review because we know how important reviews are, but also asking if they know any other contractors that might need my services. I straight up ask them, and a lot of times they give me names. They go, you know what? Yes, Bob the builder down the road is a good friend, and he was just saying he needed. And I've literally but you got to ask for it again.
Yeah, you do.
They're not going to just tell you. You got to ask for it, and I think that's where a lot of people are. Like you said earlier, it's kind of scary to ask for it. But
yeah,
you do it 2-3 times, and you ask for it, and you see how valuable it is. And because that doesn't cost you any marketing dollars to say, hey, do you know anybody? Do you know a contractor another one that could use my services? And they go, yes. And you just got that lead for free.
Oh yeah. I mean, for real. It's for me, having been a business owner, I have W-2 employees, I pay salaries, I do all that stuff. And it's transformative. There's just no other way around it. There are stereotypes about business owners. I've met a lot of business owners. All of them are crazy. Like out of their gourd. They tend to follow a similar kind of path academically. They're normally not like the A+ student. They're like A's and B's, but they're all about speed. They're about getting it done. There's a lot of like singers who are also public speakers. There's just these weird parallels that I find in the business owner community. But yes, all of them are clinically insane because it's so scary. It's terrifying to be an agency owner. It's terrifying to open your own business. That's why most people don't do it till later in life. But every now and then you'll find like that 20-year-old, that 25-year-old that does it, kills it. But they're as crazy as the rest of them because it's risky. It's risky, So how do you manage the risk?
Didn't you just have a 20-year-old agency owner on a few days ago?
I sure did. Yeah, he was impressive, but I worry about his mental health, to be honest. Because he's got school. He was not the valedictorian, but the second salutatorian. Yeah. And, I worry about that. And then college is for what? Drinking and flirting and running around. And if you're running a business during that time, you turn 30, 35 and you look back and you're like, you crave that, you might be like, I really want that. And now you're trying to get it when you're 30 instead of when you were 21, but now you're 30 and it's a whole different thing. And so, I'm not saying the panacea is, just be a young business owner. Yeah. I'm not, but hats off to him. He seems like he's doing really well.
Yeah, it seemed like it. So you were asking me, how do I manage that?
Yeah. How do you manage the stress? Because it's stressful.
It can be, I found, especially once I first resigned and I started working from home and everything closed down. Of course, I was really at home, right? The pandemic, they didn't want you going anywhere. So I was really at home. So I found myself not doing a lot of the activities that I was doing when I opened my business. So I made sure that I started getting out. And this was after probably 6 months. And before I even realized it, that I was getting a little bit lazy. Well, I'll be truthful about it. So I started exercising some more, and I started getting in a little more of a routine in the morning, trying to meditate. I can't say that I always do it as much as I should, but I try to, and I make sure I go for a walk every day. That really helps. It's just super nice.
Yeah, clear your head a little bit. So, okay. So you're writing specifically for contractors. So let's go back in time a bit. You were 14 when you got your contractor's license?
No, I was 14 when I started working for my dad doing some
Right.
vinyl siding.
Oh yeah, vinyl siding. Tyvek. Got to put up the Tyvek before you put up the
Then you got to tape the
siding.
seams. Absolutely.
That's right. You get it. Watch out for the hornets. There's some nests up there. You got to be careful. And that ladder is dangerous, bro. It's just danger zone. So yeah, and also like if you're doing a corner, like it's got to be the same on every. You know what I mean? Like that, you can't be having any sort of like inconsistencies in that siding.
Gotta be level. That's correct.
Yeah, it's got to be level. So there you are doing that. 14. Did you hate it right away? You're up there. You're doing this. You're like, this sucks. I'd rather be riding bike.
I wouldn't say that I hated it because I was getting paid, 14 years old. My dad paid me decent back then. I think he was paying me like $5 an hour. And this is back in, the 80s, 1980s. So it was decent, especially for a 14-year-old. I thought I had it made $5 an hour, work for my dad. He didn't really make me work real hard because I was young and didn't know what I was doing. And, I just started learning. And when I was 19, I kind of helped him part-time on and off throughout the summers. When I was 19, he didn't have his builder's license because when he started, he didn't need one. But it was getting more strict that you had, even to get any kind of building permit, you had to have a license. So he sat me down one day and said, Tom, you don't really have a lot of direction in your life. Why don't you go get your builder's license? And I said, hey, you know what? Okay, I'll do that. So I took a course.
Let me stop you there. So 19, you don't have a lot of direction in your life. So why would he say those words to you? Were you just sitting around smoking weed? What were you doing?
No, I was just working a lot of different jobs. I worked as a lifeguard at an adventure island, mini golf adventure park type thing. I was working as a radio DJ part-time. I had my own radio DJ thing that I was doing. And I was working for him doing construction. I really didn't hold down a job. I worked at a lot of different ones and I just didn't have a lot of direction. I mean, that's pretty evident.
No college? No university?
Nope.
Okay. Why?
Because I didn't have a lot of direction then. I can't say that I loved school at the time. And, it just wasn't for me at that time. And I was going to take a few years off or whatnot. Yeah. And started doing the construction. I was doing ski instruction, like you said at the beginning. I started doing that at the same time when I was 19. And I was doing that in the wintertime and doing construction after I got my license with my dad. We became partners and we started working, doing construction full time.
Is your dad still alive?
He passed away about a year ago.
About a year? Okay. So, all right. Let's dive in to a year ago, shall we? So you quit your job. See, I didn't realize your father passed. Yeah. So you also had to deal with the fact that your father died on top of opening an agency in a pandemic.
Correct.
So you're on the phone with Joe Schmo Contractor in that emotional state.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, yes, it was interesting. Yeah, it was.
Dude, brutal. Yeah. Brutal. That is what it is. So, listeners, there you have it. You're going through it. Hello, listener. I'm talking to you. I know you're going through it. I'm aware of that. You're going through it right now. It's tough. You're struggling in one, if not 6 different ways. But here you have it. Guest on the show today. He wasn't an agency owner. He hadn't done this before. And father dies in a pandemic. Quit your job. But guess what? Do it anyway. What happens if I do it anyway? What happens if I call him up anyway? What happens if I film this video anyway? And then maybe go cry. And then maybe come back and just do it anyway. What happens? Well, eventually, you're rewarded. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. You continue on. Yes, just like anything. The more you do it, of course, it's a first law of sales. Every no, you're closer to a yes. I did that when I was 19 as well. I sold door-to-door insurance. So, I even did,
you go.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of direction. Like I said, I was just trying a little of this and a little of that, and I didn't.
Those early sales jobs, people have no idea how important those are. They don't have a clue. They'll look at these jobs and they'll go, these are garbage jobs. They're commission only. They mostly are garbage jobs because they're not paying you except for commission. They're super. Here's DJ Night Train coming in. I'm enjoying life, relaxing while I learn. Well, you're killing it, DJ Night Train. We all need whatever DJ Night Train's doing. Enjoying life, relaxing while he learns. Oh, fuck, you do it. I had an early job where I was selling like auto parts. It was like cold calling. I've done all kinds of sales. And if you go into an interview and they're super excited to hire you and it's commission only sales, this is because it's zero sweat off their back. They don't care. They're like, bro, like I make money only if you know. So I was in an interview once. I'm like, these guys really like me. This is fantastic. So naive, just naive. And then, you know, I did sales for them, and every dollar I made, they made a percentage of it. And that is what it is. But I learned a lot. Rejection, time and time again. Get used to it.
Yeah, I tell you, that door-to-door insurance, that was something. You know, you knock on the door and you never know. And I'm from Michigan, rural, up north Michigan, you know, where I'm not in the big cities. I live on 10 acres. And when I was doing that, you know, I'm out in the country, no other houses around, knocking at 19 years old. Hi, my name's Tom. And you're right. That's probably what I'm sure that experience is what helped me now when I open this agency to make those phone calls, to go, you know what, this is better than knocking on somebody's door. Hey, how you doing today? And, you know, B2B cold calling is different than B2C as well, right? Because B2B, they're generally answering their phones. Like we talked about earlier, you know, it might be the secretary or something, but they're going to answer their phone. Whereas a customer, they generally don't. So calling a business, it should be easier in that sense. Wow.
I mean, you got the positive attitude. To me, it is just like a hellish demonic experience. I'm like, why, God, is this even existing? Why is this a thing? Because it is truly like, if you have not gotten rejection after rejection after rejection, oh, it stings. It hurts. It like hardens a part of you. Like you callous a part of you to it. I would liken it to being an MMA fighter. Everyone, you know, it's like, it's not about how strong you are, dude. It's how many punches you can take and having the willpower to be like, I'm rocked, you know, I'm rocked. Like he clocked me. I'm dizzy. My legs are underneath me, but can you recover enough to just stay in the fight? You know, how many of these MMA guys and gals do you think like get an injury in training? You never see them ever again.
I'm sure there's a lot of them that do that.
Dude, 90% tore my ACL, tore my this, tore my that, broke this, broke that. There was that Undertaker Joe Rogan interview not too long ago where he went into a shoulder like specialist, and the shoulder specialist said, lift your arm. He's like, and he said to the Undertaker, the famous wrestler, he said,
I know what you're talking about.
There is no medical reason why you can do that. Like what? Your body is just so screwed. So anyway, listeners, hey man, toughness. It's underrated.
You gotta keep at it. Nose to the grindstone.
It's psychological toughness. Dad dies, pandemic, brand new business, doing it anyway, calling them anyway. What else are you gonna do? Feel sorry for yourself and stare at the wall?
I thought
go watch Netflix.
I looked through some want ads a few times. There were some dire times, I'm not going to lie, in the first probably 6 months where I would, get a notification on Facebook. Oh, this job would be great for you. And I go, I think about it. No, I got to, and then I'd refocus my energy and maybe go take a course or something, just because I didn't go to college doesn't mean that I haven't educated through a lot of self-learning. I'm certified in a number of HubSpot certification or sales, content writing, SEMrush. That's a big tool that I use all the time. And I got, 2 or 3 there. What did I just do? Finish my 3rd one of their courses. So there's so many free courses nowadays. If you already know where you're going, it's just as valuable to do that as it is to.
That is the future of education. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Like this university model is very last century. It just is. And I'm not concerned at all about the piece of paper. I would way rather see, 50 courses you've taken on internet marketing, have a portfolio of WordPress websites and a bunch of other, like Google ads experience, Facebook ads experience, LinkedIn ads experience, then like University of Michigan, like communications degree. It's like, okay.
It's funny. When I was in the corporate world, of course, I hired a lot of people. I've interviewed over the years, I'm sure over 2,000 people total
Right.
that I've interviewed in person. And it's interesting. The people that I generally liked hiring people that had more experience than somebody with a degree only, because that person with experience, I know they've done it. They can show me, like you said, hey, I've done this. Whereas somebody that's got a degree and can, in theory, do it.
Right. Yeah. So 11 a.m. Y'all know marketing is a foreign language. 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for the live show. If you're joining us after the fact, like many folks do, please do hit the like button. Subscribe on YouTube if that's where you're watching us. If you're watching us on Twitch or LinkedIn, show us some love. iTunes, Spotify, and many other podcast platforms. You can listen to us in the car. Our guest today, Tom Bartholomew, is everything you could possibly want in a guest. We're going to give him the last word. Tom, let them know how they can reach you.
They can reach me at allbmg.com, and that'll route them right over to my hard to remember BartholomewMediaGroup.com website.
Okay. There you have it. And final word, what do you want to tell them? Leave them with a little nugget of wisdom.
That you'll never accomplish it if you don't start.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode 215. We'll see y'all next time.